5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome everyone to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. This is the podcast where my co-host and I listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts from the previous week. By the way, I said Cincinnati-based craft beer podcast from the previous week.
In case there was any confusion.
Yeah.
It's fine.
The beginning.
It's of every single episode.
Cincinnati-based craft beer podcast from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host. Today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you for being a gracious podcast host. That other voice you heard belongs to...
Who are you?
Well, I was going to say it after this time, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, you were
No.
You didn't prepare me for this.
No,
I got scared.
It's fine. I'm going to do it this way. So I am Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. And that other voice you heard belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia, and I like to find new podcasts and running into other podcasters while we're here at Summit Park, such as the amazing woman that I spoke to for a few minutes who does the Cincinnati Foodies podcast. I just subscribed because I just met her like 5 minutes ago. I haven't had a chance to listen to an episode yet, but very excited to check that out. And I listen to wow. You all right? I think I'm dying.
Hopefully that's not a consequence from the other podcasters.
No, all I was trying to say is I listen to way too many podcasts. But anyway.
I listen to a lot. But yes, hopefully there aren't too many, consequences from the host of the other podcast. And we just met her, so hopefully there aren't any... consequences there.
If they do any episodes that are kind of beer focused or that mention beer, because she did say that they do enjoy some drinks while they're recording.
There you go.
You never know.
You never know.
They might show up on our show.
It's possible.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
It's possible. And so that's what we do. No craft beer podcast would be a great craft beer podcast, as we are, because we are the number one podcast that talks about Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts. Mm-hmm. And thank you to all the listeners who have been with us a long time, and thank you for those who are just joining us for making us a number one in that category. Truly appreciate that. So we wouldn't be a good one if we weren't having at least a beverage of some sort. And today, both of us do have beers. I am going to start because I think, you are in the middle of, taking a picture.
The way that the condensation is on the outside of the glass is absolutely gorgeous with the sunlight going through it. So
gorgeous.
I'm going to take advantage and try to get
gorgeous. Look at
picture.
Wow, look at that. That's a pro move there. You flipped the phone upside down for the angle that you're looking for. That's a pro move right there. So I am having Hop Juju from Fatheads Brewery. And a couple things about the can. First of all, last year, it's a seasonal release. Last year, it was phenomenal. This year, phenomenal. Last year was a 16-ounce can. That was in 4-packs. This year is a 12-ounce can in 4-packs. And last year, if you were at a craft beer bar such as Higher Gravity Summit Park, you might have noticed a little bit of a weird sort of discrepancy where if you wanted it on draft, you were getting a 12-ounce pour for a certain price, but if you got a 4-pack and went home, oh, look at that. Wow.
Pictures going on social media.
Nice. You were obviously on a to-go beer, you're paying less. That's duh. But you were paying almost the same price if you were cracking it open and having it out of can here. So now you don't have that sort of discrepancy.
Yeah, that's the perfect word for it.
Because you're going to get it in a 12-ounce pour because it's, a 9% ABV beer, and then you're going to take it to go in a 12-ounce 4-pack.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Julia, what you drinking?
I am drinking, because it is Oktoberfest season, I am drinking Third Eye's Festbier, and it is freaking amazing.
It's really good. So all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may represent or be affiliated with, such as our full-time jobs or Higher Gravity. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments and need to get in touch with us, we will tell you how to do so at the end of the podcast.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, What'd you listen to last week?
I listened to the Craft Parenting podcast.
I saw the Craft Parenting podcast.
You did. You were chiming in on the chat. That's
I did.
awesome. I just wasn't around. I didn't want to watch it on my phone while I was out. So unfortunately, I just listened to it. But I will make it to watch a live show one of these weeks. I promise.
I got the notification, and I was at work late. This was Friday night, if I'm not mistaken, and I got the notification. When I got home, I pulled up the pod, the live stream, and they were still going. So I just interacted with them.
That's awesome. Then we had last night's episode of the Weekly Pint with the Gnarly Gnome.
I was there. You were there as well.
I was there too. I was
in spirit.
I was there, but I wasn't really present, and we'll get into that when we hit that segment. And then we have this week's YouTube episode of the Brew Skies Booze News.
Yes, and there's two things you should watch. I am going to wait until we recap the main episode before we talk about the bonus.
That's fair.
PSA, we'll call it.
Yes. I am in agreement with that, and let's get right to it.
Well, one other mention about the Hop Juju Hop Juju. I don't want to add the in front of things that don't have the, or S at the end of things that don't have S's. But
Hops Jujus.
This does say handcrafted, unfiltered, pour slowly, and it also says keep your can off the streets. Please recycle your empties. Please keep in mind, people, if you have a shrink wrap on your can or a sticker, that you should pull that off or cut that off before you place your can in the recycling.
Yes. Josh and I do that with every single one of our cans now. Kind of annoying, but if it guarantees or gives a better chance that can is going to be recycled and not end up in a landfill just by taking the label off. Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, such a simple thing.
Yeah, and if you don't care to do so, then just put it in the trash.
Yes.
I have been in the habit for quite a long time to separating my recyclables. I am not here to get on a soapbox and say whether you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying that those are facts, Jack.
True dat.
Okay. Podcast.
Where do you want to start?
Crap Parenting Pod.
Okay. Sounds good. This was a YouTube live stream, and then they pulled the audio from that and shoved it out to all the podcatchers, which is where I saw it. This is episode 115. This is Oktoberfest season kickoff, bat invasions, birthday party, first day of school, and more. So this episode covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, it was a lot.
The first 21-ish
Cleaning.
minutes. Cleaning. Yep. And how much cleaning and the timing of the cleaning.
Cleaning.
3 hours versus 1 hour.
Or 6 hours.
Which really, when Caroline kind of explained it, it sounds like she only does like an hour of cleaning, but she calls it 3 hours of cleaning for reasons unknown. It was a very interesting breakdown of the time it takes.
Caroline's quite the salesperson in that regard.
It's true. It's very true.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Salute to you, Caroline. If you do 1 hour's worth of cleaning and you can, just convince everybody that you're telling that you did 3 hours of cleaning, I'm here for it.
Sure, absolutely. The first 21-ish minutes of the episode were pretty beer focused, so that's kind of the main things that we're going to talk about. They started this episode with which Oktoberfest beer is the hottest, or no, not beer, I'm sorry, festival. I have my notes kind of out of order. Which Oktoberfest is the hottest Oktoberfest? The correct answer is the one that my Josh may be attending.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so if you can figure
hottest
out
one, huh?
the hottest one, yeah.
The hottest one.
Yeah, because if he's
it's
there.
It's the Rick James of Oktoberfest.
Because my Josh, I may be biased, but I think he is the best looking man out there. So the hottest Oktoberfest is the one that he's at. And you'll have to fight me if you think anything otherwise. You're entitled to your own opinions, that's fine. But just don't argue with me on my opinion about that, is what I'm saying there.
No argument here. Not on that. Not going to happen.
They drank a couple Oktoberfest beers, but they did not have a single 19.2 ounce can.
Sad.
I don't know what they're doing.
Sad.
Are they even dedicated?
I don't think they're even
to
trying.
the craft beer? No, they're probably not.
I don't think they're trying because honestly, the two of them, I feel like if they tried to accomplish something, they could accomplish it.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, Joe's overcome so much with those tiny hands. And, I think that if they really put their minds to it, he may need both hands to grab a 19.2 ounce can, but he could
can
do it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And you
Picks them up, takes them home.
Dude, Caroline would have both of them in one of those beer helmet hats and whatever.
I have one.
And I know you've said that before. You've yet to bring it here, though.
It's got the Viking horns.
Nice.
It's got the Viking horns.
Nice.
Yep.
That's pretty badass.
Yep.
Let's see. They talked about Dora-ing in the Town Hall District in Westwood. And firemen are children at heart, which I believe 100%.
I agree.
100%.
I've had firefighter interactions, and children at heart.
Yes. Apparently, I don't want to spoil the story.
Big responsible men, but act irresponsibly in safety zones.
Correct. Let's just say that they kind of appealed to children playing at the playground. But you could tell from the story that they were sharing about this that they were also getting an absolute kick out of what they were doing. Like, oh, this is the coolest thing. We get to, we're doing this. And it's kind of like truckers. I've heard that truckers love when you do the, pull, the blow your horn, arm signal thing, whatever. I've heard that truckers get a kick out of that. And I'm sure that firemen, the same way when they're out with the truck and all that, love it. Absolutely love it.
I bet it's fewer and far between now that every kid has his face planted into some, electronic device.
Yeah. So if they notice when a fire truck's going back, or a semi, if, you're on the highway.
Right.
Yeah. The fact that the children took their time out of their electronics schedule to interact with a fire truck, with, firemen, or kind of our example of semi-truck drivers.
Do you remember magnetic chess?
Yes.
Like you would take that on road trips?
And it was never magnetic enough.
No. No.
Mom hits a different bump or whatever, and it's just the pieces are...
Look, kids, here's some games on the road trip. Mm-hmm. It's like, this stopped being fun 5 minutes into the trip.
Yes. Someone got mad. Someone just kind of, knocked all the pieces off the board. Terrible.
Yeah. Dumb.
They got into discussing what the plastic covers are for 6-packs and 4-packs, and they were correct. I was screaming.
I was screaming at them.
Oh my God. PackTex.
PackTex.
How hard is that?
Not hard.
PackTex. And apparently they have a whole bunch.
They call them the thingies.
Yeah, they're like, the thingies, the pack-ins, the packages. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, PackTex.
PackTex.
And again, the reason that we're saying it like
the plastic
this,
thingies.
The plastic thingies. And if anyone is kind of new to listening to the show, the reason that we're doing things the way we're doing when we're recapping these, we don't want to just tell you everything that happens, hence the podsequences. We want to kind of tease things, or maybe some of these things didn't even happen.
No.
We want to try to get you to go,
really?
Okay, wait, that sounded crazy or ridiculous, or, okay, that couldn't be right. They couldn't have said that. We want to encourage you to listen to these podcasts because we love listening to them. So we're trying to encourage people to be interested in what they're doing. With that being said, they admitted to drinking entire growlers when their family is over, which I mean is understandable.
Because family
is over, yes.
You got to put it down like that.
Right, because when you're hosting your own family for something, you can't promise family fun like a lot of these events that we talk about do. It's you have to try to figure out what you have to do to survive.
What?
Oh, God. Not that guy again.
Fucking Liam Neeson.
How did he get here? What is...
No. What is
no to, Liam? To the growlers, to the family fun? Where did he go? Oh, my God.
That guy.
Dude.
Tell you what.
I swear. But yeah.
He has a very particular set of skills. But it's...
The only skill is interrupting us.
You would think it would be other things, but he's an actor, and all it is just interrupting us.
Just say no. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all he does is come around here and say no.
Stop me when I lie. Asshole.
Yeah, entire growlers. Yeah, because I mean they were correct in saying that when
when I open a
you get
growler, I finish it.
You have to, yeah. Josh and I will get, well, I mean, we haven't gotten an actual growler fill in quite
Probably
a while.
a long time.
Yeah, normally we get like a crowler or two, something that still, once you open it, you
Got to
finish it. But yeah, we would get a growler of stuff from, whatever brewery we were at, or, bottle shop, that type of thing. And it's one of those, okay, what are we doing, Friday night or Saturday night? It's like, all right, let's crack this thing at dinner and let's just go ahead and kill it throughout the night.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you have a crowler or a growler or whatever it is, let's say the recipe does call for beer for whatever reason.
Okay.
Do you buy beer that you would never drink to put in it, or do you buy beer that you would drink? Because if I wouldn't drink that beer, why would I put it in my food?
The second.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, if I wouldn't drink
totally.
it, why would I want to put it in my food? And I
Same
know
way.
some people say, like, well, when you cook it, a lot of the taste, is obviously it's not the same thing.
I do think it's different. I do think it's different for
but-
wine. Like if the recipe calls for wine, number one, never use cooking wine. That's awful. Use real wine.
Pink sherry.
Yeah, use real wine.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't take a $30 bottle and throw it into your pasta water to make drunken pasta.
Right,
I would take
right.
a $6 bottle and throw it in there. But on the same hand, it'd be a $6 bottle that I would still want to drink the rest of.
Right, yeah. And I was going to say to the beer example for that, yeah, I'm not going to, open up one of my, $16 per can, adjuncted barrel-aged stouts
Right.
for, some like a beer
Utopia's
bread or something like that.
barrel-aged 120 minute.
Exactly. I'm not going to use that for cooking because I'm not going to be really tasting that the way that it's meant to be tasted. However, I'm still going to get something that is, something from Brink, something from Third Eye, something that I'm not going to use an entire 6-pack in the recipe. So I'm going to have more. It better be something that I'm going to want to enjoy drinking in addition to eating whatever food I've put it into.
The other thing, it appears that they bought a house in the Carpathian Mountains because they have bats. And
yeah, sure.
they probably have a vampire in their home.
Yep, that or they all have rabies. Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean...
Which shrinks your hands even further, so that's not good news for Joe.
No. And don't scream at bats. It just makes them angry.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to hear all about the bat-tastrophe that happened at the Ludwig household...
Caroline has to actually crack a garlic and give Joe a clove at a time because he just can't hold more than a clove at a time.
Well, she could just walk around spritzing holy water in the air, around the kids, around Joe, that kind of thing, just to make sure everyone's still good.
How old is the oldest bottle of holy water that you had, Julia?
Oh, my from my personal stash of holy water? Gosh, it's got to be... Well, you see, I inherited it from my grandmother, who inherited it from her grandmother.
Gotcha.
The story gets a little muddy around there.
I mean, I've got one not new. Mine's new compared to that.
Gotcha. Yeah, mine's at least a century old, I think. So I don't even know if there's water in it anymore. I mean, for all I know, it's an empty, opaque bottle, and once a vampire shows up, I'm screwed. But I like to think that it's
a flask-shaped bottle that I have that I've probably had that my mother gave me probably 22 years ago.
Does it burn when you hold it?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's all good.
Good, you're not
Just
a vampire.
in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
So a question that they brought up, which was interesting because of conversations that my Josh and I have been having. Do you have to disclose bats in your house when you're selling your house?
Liam.
Oh,
Get
okay.
over.
Oh, hey, he's going to be useful.
Thing. No, you got to do the thing. Yeah, right here. Liam, you right?
No.
All right.
That's all you got?
Are we taking an
Just
official
fuck
stand?
off.
Please do not use us for any realty advice because we are not
No, we're not
certified.
realtors.
So
if you do
we're
use
just-
us for
you got a bigger problem on your hands.
real estate advice,
Financial advice,
That's your-
relationship advice. That's on you.
that's on you. You done fucked up.
Last note that I had on this episode, because this is where, as we are getting away from the beer talk, this is where they were getting away from the beer talk.
Here's what happened.
Yes.
I joined the podcast.
You did, yes.
He said Joe had his tiny hands right in front of the camera, and he goes, okay, let's move away from beer talk. That's as soon as I hit the link.
Join.
And I was like, move away from the beer talk? What the hell am I getting into?
I just got here. Well, you got into bats, and then discussions about other random animals that one of their friends used to have.
Yeah.
Which I'm listening to this list, which was a very short list that they gave. And I'm like,
friends or animals?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Both.
Gotcha.
So they talked about their friend who had like pet roaches, cockroaches, that kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
Madagascar
yeah, remember
has
that.
cockroaches and everything.
No,
And I'm like,
it's not a friend.
oh, that's right. It was
Family member.
Family member.
It's Caroline's brother.
I've got that beat in the different random pets that I've had over the years. So
No way.
Oh yeah. You want to go down this rabbit hole?
No.
Okay.
Actually, yes.
I'll give a couple. This is.
Oh, you had multiple?
This is a small.
That can beat him?
This is a small handful of the random exotic pets
So a
that I've
Joe-size
had
handful.
over the a Joe-size handful of the random exotic pets that Julia has had over the years. In addition to Madagascar hissing cockroaches, Vietnamese centipedes, whiptail scorpions, regular like black scorpions, tarantulas, different kinds, cobalt blues, the rose-haired tarantulas. I've also had hedgehogs. I have had crested geckos, a bearded dragon. We had doves for a while. My ex and I, we had doves.
When the doves cry.
Yeah, we had a couple other bug and insect and snakes, rats. I mean,
Did you have the rats for the snakes, or did you have rats just as pets?
just rats as pets. Yeah, Dumbo rats. So they're big ears on the side of their head, very cute. And then we just bought pre-dead mice for the snakes.
Like pinkies?
Their snakes are big enough that they needed something a little more than piggies.
Bigger.
So like adult size. Yeah.
Duh. Okay.
Flash frozen and vacuum packed and delivered to our doorstep. It was very odd. I will say one thing. Crickets, if you order them in bulk, they stink to high hell. Oh my God.
Oh, I would imagine.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Never again.
Did you have a cricket cage? Like a mesh wire cage?
We had...
Or was it a glass enclosure?
We
Or
made a
plexiglass?
out of a Rubbermaid container and like cut holes and put screening material on it and then like the egg cartons and stuff in there. So it wasn't glass because that's heavy, but it wasn't just like
Right.
keeping them in the cardboard box. We actually I don't know why I'm knocking on wood. It's well in the past. We never had any escape. We actually did a pretty good job of keeping them contained in the container until they went to feed the toads or the frogs or the whatever other reptile and crazy shit that we were feeding them to.
It's kind of like what Joe and Caroline are going through. Caroline are going through with the bats.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Hopefully all the bats are gone now because I mean they're great for the environment. They're great to keep control over the bugs in your yard, that kind of thing. But you do not want them living in your
That kind of thing.
house. You know, what they should do to kind of discourage the bats from living in their house, they have a nice yard, put up some bat boxes. Mm-hmm. That'd be perfect.
Bat boxes. Yep.
That would be perfect. Did you have any other notes, or did you want to talk any about your experience interacting with them YouTube Live before we round out this part of the recap? Or are you good?
Liam, you're up, bud.
He has one job.
No.
Fair enough. All right. Do you want to move on to the Weekly Pint or to Brew Skies?
Liam, go sit down. Get a seat at the bar. You could put a beer on Julia's tab.
Whoa.
Huh?
I didn't agree to that. Or is
Oh, did you hear that?
No. That was terrible. Yes, I heard that.
Shit.
Fine, Liam, just one. Whatever. Just one.
He's a Jameson drinker.
Oh, God, he's going to get like the Clase Azul.
For tequila?
Rip my tab. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That Liam guy.
William guy. No, let's go.
All right.
What's next, Julia? I picked the last one.
That's true, you did. Let's do. Let's get it for a Weekly Pint.
Okay.
Because that was
Let's go.
That was fresh.
And you remember everything.
No, I did not remember. Well, I had to listen to it instead of.
You did it again? Did you listen again?
I did.
Like did the
Well, I
live and
wasn't-
then listen again?
I wasn't super present during the live, if I'm being perfectly
Tell
honest.
everyone why.
This is episode 183 of the Weekly Pint, Oktoberfest, pour your own beer bars, and tipping culture. It's normally every Monday about 9:30 p.m. and it's like a virtual, in remote whatever happy hour over Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. I think there might be one other platform that he live streams this to, and he just talks about things that he's been doing in. His day-to-day life, things for, work, and then beer news, things that he's drinking. He did not do an Oktoberfest Quest showdown during this week's Weekly Pint. But, normally I try to interact a lot, and that's one of the most fun things about the Weekly Pint is just chiming in with the chat. He has some app that is able to aggregate all the different chats from Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, and it puts them into one place on the screen so you can see what everyone on other platforms is saying, and you just have conversations. You just hang out with everyone on Monday night. Josh and I just gotten home from Narrow Path, and we had met up with an old coworker of Josh's, David. Super awesome guy. Like, that guy is freaking cool.
Cool ass David.
But the reason that we met up with him is because he and his wife had decided to grow Carolina Reaper peppers.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yes. And he was like, I don't know what to do with these. I'm scared of them. I don't want them. Do you guys want a few? And so my Josh had sent me a text early in the day like, I have the chance.
You okay? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I heard a cough. It's the COVID, the new variant.
Oh, good God, don't say that.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I have a little, phlegm that's loose.
From the Reaper?
Probably. It's probably still repercussions from that.
Repercussions?
But I get a text. Nice. Very nice. Got a text from Josh saying, have the opportunity for some fresh Carolina Reapers. Would you be interested? And I'm like, this is a terrible idea, but why not? When will we have the opportunity again?
Josh
Why
is
not?
like, hey, I got a Reaper guy.
I got a Reaper guy, which we now have a
You have
Reaper
a Reaper guy.
So met up with him at Narrow Path. Great conversation. These peppers look beautiful and they're terrifying.
Did anyone at Narrow Path have a pepper?
No, we didn't try to do any of that there because I didn't know how it was going to.
No. Not you.
Oh no.
No, but did anybody at Narrow Path? Did he say like, hey?
He didn't offer them to everyone.
I got a pepper
yeah.
for you.
Hey, I got something in this bag over here.
Right.
You might be interested.
He had an overcoat.
No.
And he opened his overcoat.
Open it up and it's like
Yeah.
different peppers hanging down the
Exactly.
inside of it.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool. But no, that was not the case for this particular scenario. Maybe in the future. Maybe once it gets cooler outside.
Or if he had it in a suitcase, a small suitcase.
It was in a glass, not Tupperware, but like a glass container with a rubber lid in a canvas tote. So kind of. There were multi-levels to how he was transporting this into the tap room. So get
Was
the
he
peppers.
using gloves?
No, actually the outside of them isn't problematic at all.
I call
Everything's on. I'm just saying, I touched them, I held them, I picked them up, I rubbed my eyes, no issue whatsoever. So we were good there.
Well,
It was
okay.
risky. It
Rub
was
your
risky,
eyes, okay.
but yeah. Wasn't something that I had planned, but it was kind of like,
I was like,
Oh.
oh yeah, you just decided. No, I'm going to test them.
I'm going to do
I'm
this.
Give I'm going to give it the eye
test. Let me
test.
rub the pepper on my face. No.
Are these fake? Let me give it the eye
Right.
test.
So we pick
Like
out
some in the movies where they test the Coke by giving it a
the
little
finger.
and then
Yep.
finger on the gums.
Yep. Yeah, no,
Not that
definitely.
I've ever done that. I've seen that in television.
Yeah, definitely did not want to run the risk of not being able to drive us home because
Right.
the pepper was going to do god-awful things to me. I'm like, we're waiting until we get home. I don't even know if we're going to do this tonight. I don't know. So get home.
You figured it out.
Oh, we figured it out pretty quick, yeah. So we get home, Weekly Pint starts, we join in, say hi. Josh brings up the cut-up pepper. And he thought we were going to wait and kind of each take a piece at the same time. But I'm like, if I don't just do this, I'm going to psych myself. I'm not going to do it. So I'm like, okay, here we go. So I just grabbed a piece while, Noam's talking about how the Weekly Pint isn't sponsored by anyone or any entity other than his Patreon subscribers.
Right. So far.
And then he started talking about the beer that he was drinking, Sabro Express, which was a Deschutes and Rheingeiss collaboration, and how there might be a little more to that behind the scenes than what anyone is
Possibly.
ever going to know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, listen to this episode or rewatch it on Facebook or YouTube if you want to, because we're not going to tell you everything.
I have it on good authority that not Deschutes, but another brewery out
That way.
west was
West, yeah.
sending brewers messages like, hey, you're an
Let me
awesome
slide
brewer.
into your DMs.
Hey, you're an awesome brewer. We're looking for awesome brewers.
Oh, wow.
And
I mean, I'm not surprised. I say, oh, wow, but it's like, I'm sure it happens.
Didn't happen to me, but it happened to people I know.
It will. Although you're not
No.
brewing right now, so
No.
I guess that would be kind of weird if they're like, hey, know you're a great brewer, and you're like, I haven't brewed anything in like a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was about that point that that Noam was talking about Deschutes, and then kind of transitioning into how there are so many Oktoberfest celebrations going on anymore that I'm like, if I don't just eat this piece of pepper, I'm never going to. So popped it in my mouth, I'm chewing, and Josh looks over and he's like, did you do it already? And I'm like, if I didn't, I wouldn't have. And at that point, the heat, the fire is starting to consume my face. And he was like, okay, well, let me do one. How are you doing? Is it hot? I can't speak. I can't say anything. I'm starting.
Don't
Tears
speak.
are streaming down my face. It's like I have so much, sorry, this is a little gross, so much like saliva in my mouth that I'm just like leaning over like a wad of paper towels on my desk, just drooling onto them. And I'm like, I need to get up. I need to pace. We had milkshakes, so I was trying to like sip on those, which the cold of the milkshake felt good. But as soon as it wasn't cold anymore, mouth was on fire. So I'm like pacing around. I have, a set of wireless headphones for my computer. So I'm pacing around the house trying to listen to Noam talk about things such as how he hates his new editing headphones. Or no,
Yeah, he swapped them out.
Yeah, and so he had to swap them out. And I'm like, I'm trying to listen, but all I can think about is don't get sick. Just keep breathing through this. It should only last a few minutes. And I couldn't focus on the episode. So I had to listen to it again, which sometimes I'll do depending on what's going on, what the conversation is about. Sometimes I do listen a second time to
So can
take
you
my
taste
notes.
fine today?
Yeah.
So it
No
didn't-
issues.
It didn't burn anything off as far as taste buds
Nope.
or
No stomach issues,
So
no
so
cramping.
you know like when you have a hot cup of coffee and
Right.
it's too hot and
you burn off your taste
burn off
buds?
your
Yeah,
taste
yeah,
buds
yeah.
and you can't taste
Anything for like hours?
Really anything.
I mean, I don't know that I had a chocolate milkshake. I don't know that I
mean,
wasn't tasting it.
Could I have a
wasn't-
milkshake? I would have went
Well,
Oreo cookie. But
yeah. I don't know if I was actually tasting the chocolate milkshake or if I was just in such a kind of survive mode that it didn't matter what flavor anything was. It was just I need something cool to try to calm the burning. But once that was done, like when I brushed my teeth,
like a preparation age for your mouth.
Yeah. I could taste the toothpaste when I brushed my teeth, and once
Oh,
it
you're
kind of
good
died
then.
down, everything was fine. So I haven't had any issues. But because of that, I did have to kind of go back and re-listen just to see what he talked about. I kind of felt bad that I wasn't fully present for
We
the
talked for
show
a
that
while.
kind of brought our podcast together. If we're
True.
being honest,
That's absolutely true. He talked for a while, but honestly, it wasn't too far deep into too many
Too many
topics.
things. Yeah, there were a lot of
because
topics, but they were just saying glossed over is not correct at all. But there wasn't a lot of in-depth conversation.
He went into a longer discussion. Well, Mike Lehman, right at the beginning, even before the whole thing started, wanted to go ahead and give out a hot take, so to speak, on Copper and Flame.
What did you say earlier today?
Copper and Flame out.
I love that. Well, before they talked about that, though, he mentioned a bit about the Point at Braxton, former 3 Points location that closed, and Braxton took over for
He didn't
their
mention the most
Cincinnati
controversial
tap room.
part.
No. Are we going to?
Well, he didn't.
That's true. Someone's got to.
So they told all their employees that they're closing for renovation over text message.
As they turn into like an event space and not just a tap room.
Over
space.
text message the morning of.
Yes, like an hour before
Like,
the
hey,
social media post went out saying, "Hey,
sorry,
we're
don't
doing
come to
this."
work. Bye.
Right, and apparently it was, and this is completely third party. I don't know. This is like screenshots that were
don't at
posted on
me.
the internet. This is, but apparently there was also some kind of controversy about.
I saw that
they didn't
it was in
offer
the
them,
newspaper or
right?
something.
But like they weren't offered, hours at other locations. It was just kind of, well, will we have our jobs back when you open as the event space? And it was just kind of and we'll let you know. We'll call. Don't call us. We'll call you, kind of thing. Which again, if that's the case, that is beyond shitty and dislike wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just collecting information from
Sure.
the
Different
news
and social media
sources,
posts and
social media posts.
I
Like,
heard from so and so who heard from
it's just
whatever.
Places talk so much about culture and communication, and what they did was
It was very poor communication.
I don't know, they can technically say nobody's fired,
Right. Yeah,
but it's
yes,
not-
they communicated,
not my
but
business,
it didn't
but,
seem like it was right. I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but there's and again, there's a lot more to the story. I'm sure that we're only seeing like little bits and pieces of the story. We don't have the entire thing. Maybe it was one of the. I'm making stuff up right now, but maybe, and this is me looking for the good in everyone. Maybe they did try to communicate with people, but there were some part-time people that didn't respond back to something, and so they found out. I'm pretty sure
That's
that
nice,
not.
Julia.
I know. But again, I try not to throw stones before I know what the house is actually made of. But I do think that this specific scenario was not handled the way it should have been handled at all. But just my opinion based on
doesn't seem
the
that way.
Right.
Doesn't
right.
seem that way from the articles I've
Right.
the sources
Sure.
that are out there on the internet that you can read. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah. We're not saying anything that's not out there.
right.
Again, we're making up some of our own hypotheses, but it's purely based off of stuff that is.
Oh, but they
in
got
public
Opera Cream
forum.
Stout coming out.
Hey, all
Hey!
right. Yes. Be sure to not get you some of that. Listerman is taking over their own kitchen, which is another thing. Which in the whole entire 15-year history of Listerman, they've always had other companies that they've contracted in to provide an in-house food option, and now they're going to be owning all of it. So hopefully that goes well for them. I don't know what kind of food. I don't think they've really talked about much at all, other than we're
think
going
we-
to do our own food. But we touched on that last week.
I think
a
we
bit.
discussed how clickbaity some of those titles were.
Yeah, the article about Tickle Pickle leaving that space was it was just inflammatory sounding.
It used to be that breweries couldn't have tap rooms, and then breweries could have tap rooms, and now breweries can have tap rooms and food. And with the tap rooms came the opportunity for food, and then breweries said, "No, we're brewers, we're not restaurateurs, or we don't run restaurants." And then there was a wave of places where it's food trucks and the unreliable, and then food partners and food trucks turn into food partners, and it's an evolution where
sure, yeah.
if you're gonna have a place and you're gonna serve food, more and more often it is the brewery being in charge of the food option.
Yeah, the stat that Gnome threw out was there are about 59-ish local breweries with ongoing food partnerships or food programs, and 41 out of those 59, they own whatever that food provider is. Like, it's not having a third party in your tap room where they own their own thing, and the tap room is they're each kind of their own entity. But 41 out of the 59 are we own all of it. Otherwise, we just don't have a good way of controlling it, is how I
would venture to
read
guess
into that.
that anybody that comes online in the future is going to take the we own it model, and then I will also guess that over the next few years, those that are partnering with somebody, that number will dwindle to where a partnership is a very small amount of numbers, and just about the majority, if not everybody, owns their own food option.
Yeah.
Especially as what happens is people end up in the restaurant business, wanting a change of scenery, going from place to place, that kind of thing. And so you end up probably having more opportunity to have trust and faith in people who already know how to do it.
Right. Yeah. A couple other notes, kind of something that you touched on the very beginning, Copper and Flame closing, which there was some talk about Copper and Flame specifically, how, no one really enjoyed the space. There are certain things that could be done better, but you could say that about anywhere, any place. But the main part of the topic kind of turned towards kind of the tipping culture and how do you tip someone at a place like that where the only interaction you have with that person when you walk in the door is handing them your credit card to open a tab. You're pouring your own beer. You're carrying it to your own table. You're taking that glassware to the, to a bin that they're going to pick up to wash. They're not doing anything to serve you or provide you with those drinks. Do you tip? And we kind of talked about this last week because Brew Skies touched on it a lot. So I don't want to dig too much deeper into this than what we already covered. But, it's a shame that another local place is closing. I'm excited to see maybe what goes into the space. But the pour your own model, it's interesting. And I think that it has a place in kind of the drinking establishment world. But I don't know of a way to make it make sense, to where it feels like it fits and you're still having those interactions with the people working there, as well as, other people that are enjoying their drinks there. It's just a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just not a very social space. You're only interacting with the people that you show up there with. And if you hit up the place by yourself, well, you're doing all the work. You might as well have just bought a 6-pack at, a tap room bottle shop and then went home. You're doing the exact same thing.
I actually think it's already in places. So
sure, right.
To say it has a place, it's already in, so I guess it has a place.
Yeah.
I actually think it's possibly being used in not the best format. What I mean by that is I don't think it's a format for a tap room or a bar on a regular basis. I think it's a great format for live event venues. I think it's a great format where, instead of standing in line waiting for, places that, in these venues that don't have enough people working at the venue and the lines are super long, have a pour your own station to where you have a card, you get your stuff, you go up. There's 2 pour your own stations, and then you go over to
Here are the 2 beers at each one, 2 tests,
whatever
you want
it
to
is.
do it, yeah.
Or you have that system hooked up to a mobile trailer, and then you can have that mobile trailer come in, and the trailer itself has the capability. So right now there are draft trailers that festivals and breweries use for festivals.
Yeah, everyone's seen those.
Yeah. Those are great. But if they were actually equipped with the technology for pour your own beer, what you could do is you can have them pull up, put your stuff in it. You create another a beer oasis, and you can have it on your site at a different location. People can still go up to your bar, get personal service, but if they want to go out and they want to get quick service, go out there, use your card, hit your card, pour your own beer, and that's a way of speeding up efficiency. I think in a tap room space or a bar space, efficiency and speed is based off of the people that you have working there. Also, the interaction is based off the people you have working there.
Right.
I see these pour your own beer stations as a place for optimization of speed, where interaction needs to be at its lowest. And I think that's where it could be best.
Okay. So kind of question on that, if you do have these beer oases as ways of more efficiently getting more people their beverages in the event of concerts, live events, that type of thing, do you think that it would be more beneficial to have people actually using the tap handles to pour their own, or those bottom fill cups to where you can't leave the tap? I mean, again, you're going to be charged for it, so you would not want to oops, accidentally filled up my whole, Camelback, liter flask with, this, or oops,
you're still
accidentally
getting charged for it.
Exactly.
There's probably some maximums for a single pour from a state perspective, but
right. But I'm just wondering if those bottom fill cups, if that might be another alternative to the pour your own.
It
is,
but I don't love the bottom fill cups.
No, once you finger the cup hole, I mean, you get
can't
problems.
stop people from touching the bottom of the cup, which is stupid. It's like, why? Stop fucking touching the bottom of the cup. That's so dumb.
Oh, poor Joe.
Yeah.
Poor Joe.
Even
only
with his
had
tiny fingers, still open the cup.
Still managed. Oh man, the things that we will never forget. I only had 2 other notes on this
and that's
episode.
Coming up soon. Beer Boots
It
Bombs.
is November. I want to confirm the date before we start mentioning it on our calendar.
And
episodes.
then I'll confirm my plans.
All right. Ooh. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Gnome's going on another backyard camping adventure soon, so be prepared to hear all about that.
Is that why he's not here?
I think
he's
so.
Going
he's
to prepare for his Labor Day.
Buying all the meats, because apparently it's going to be a very meat-heavy...
we have the meats.
Yes. And he is looking for some new booty shorts to wear to all the Oktoberfest celebrations. So if you have some that he can wear, reach out to him via any of his social media pages.
Preferably that's a juicy on the back.
On the butt? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those are the only booty shorts worth wearing. Before we get into Brew Skies Booze News, last show that we have to talk about, your glass is empty. Would you like to get something new? Because we cannot cheers with empty glasses.
We cannot. Yeah, yes. I'll get something new.
All right. Well, stick with us, guys. We'll be right back in just a minute with the last show that we have to talk about. We have made it back. Marco, what's in your glass?
I have Vienermobile.
Oh, Nick got you some more of his wiener.
Yeah. From 50 West.
50 West. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice. It's a good beer.
It is a good beer.
My personal opinion, it's not the best Oktoberfest beer this Oktoberfest season.
No.
But I would happily crush a 6-pack of that, no questions asked.
That's not on... What you have is not on tap, right?
No, it's not on tap. It's just in cans. No.
I did a Liam impression.
Yeah? How'd it go over?
He's over there.
Well, I mean, he always is, whether we like it or not.
Hanging with Mo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Liam and Mo, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the last show that we're going to recap tonight. It's another YouTube show. It is Brew Skies Brews News.
Brews and News.
It is the episode from August 28th, 2023. Beer is doing bad and it might get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from the 2 most optimistic people in craft beer that I know, that title is surprising.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you have off days, and I guess this is one of them. They were mugging it up in this episode.
Yes.
So another change to their format. I love looking for the little differences from episode to episode. It's absolutely fantastic. Bud Light.
Start off the show.
I think anymore, Brett says that just to watch Mike just deflate.
I think so.
Like, because you see that as soon as he says
yes.
it, Mike's just like, what? Seriously? We're talking about this again? Why? What else is there to talk about? And Brett's just cracking up next to him. So I think that they've given up on any hopes of Bud Light returning to its former glory. They resign themselves to the fact that Bud Light has lost over $40 billion, with a B, dollars in value.
Yeah.
And so now Brett's just saying Bud Light to just get on Mike's nerves.
Yeah, I think it works.
I think so
look,
too. It was great.
Look, ESPN has when there's no sports on, who's the greatest of all time, LeBron or MJ. They have Bud Light, and then the other one is tipping culture.
Yes, that's another.
But yeah, I mean, to play the hits, man. I mean, let's go.
Sure, why not? Apparently, there are beer drinking raccoons in Germany.
Yeah, what was interesting to me is that there weren't raccoons in Germany.
Right. I didn't realize that they weren't
did not
a native.
realize.
I just figured that they were kind of like cockroaches and just existed everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I guess what it was a bunch of...
people had them as pets, imported them over.
Imported them as pets. Stupid idea.
Right. Why would you do such things?
And then now you have a bunch of drunk raccoons that act like...
Assholes.
I
mean, they do anyway, but
Yeah, act like the uncle from the National Lampoon movies. They just show up, eat your food, and drink your beer.
Shit on your yard and leave.
Yeah. Shit are full.
So do you think pet raccoons or wild raccoons drink more? That was a conversation
Well,
that
it has
they
to be
had.
pet raccoons.
You sure? Because I don't know.
I mean,
Part of
pet
me's
raccoons
like,
are welcome to it, right?
Right,
Like, if you
exactly.
live in the house, then you can just go in the fridge and get one.
Right, exactly. Which is why I think wild raccoons would drink more, because when they see it, it's like, ooh,
No, Mom
we don't
just
get the
moved away with a broom.
opportunity. If they like kind of break into the house while no one's there, and somehow they're like, check out this 6-pack over here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might lean more towards wild because they don't know where their next meal's going to be or their next drink's going to be, and so they're just going to overconsume.
You know how we were talking about leaving your Jeep unlocked
Yes.
in Las Vegas so that the car thieves can just go in them?
Just leave the doors off of it if it's a Jeep. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
just don't.
Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what about, what beer do people in Germany leave out for the raccoons?
Ooh,
and
good
what beer do
question.
they keep,
Under lock and key,
under
like
lock and key
actual-
for themselves?
Good question. That's a good question.
They probably leave Bud Light out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they were smart, they would.
Yeah, just leave the Bud Light. Because they don't care about
Right, exactly.
Dylan Mulvaney. or anything.
Exactly. Nah. Let's see. Marketing jobs in breweries are all going to AI, so
Sad.
it is. I mean, I think AI can be used in absolutely incredible ways, but it should never be a replacement for a person.
Well, I think what's happening is, and I could be totally wrong, because what do I know about anything? But many breweries are so shoestring and so small that many of them just really couldn't hire a formal,
full-time marketing
full-time
person. Sure,
marketing
right,
person.
right.
And so what you're doing is you're having your assistant taproom manager, and you're having your bar lead, and you're having someone on the packaging team, all collaborating on trying to put up posts, and
Sure, right,
there's no consistency in the message, and it's not good. You're putting shit out there, and but if you can have somebody and like, okay, what I can do is I can basically ask AI to create something instead of hiring somebody, which they couldn't afford anyway.
Right.
They're having
I'm thinking,
some of that done now.
I feel like that scenario I don't mind, because there is a need for a service that they just can't afford to fill with a full-time person.
Right.
To me, the issue is if you have a marketing person, or like you can, or you already are paying for someone to fill that role, and then you go, you know what? We could get rid of them and their salary and just have, Joe the brewer spend 10 minutes out of his day doing a couple things in, whatever, generative AI application you want to use, and boom, there's a full day, a week's worth of that's where I have an issue.
You got to be an idiot to think that you're getting the same thing.
Oh, no, right, absolutely.
You're not.
Absolutely.
You're not getting the same thing.
No.
You're just not. And
you need that human experience and like point of view to make a post that works.
It's not the same thing. I think more breweries might be using AI to have consistency in marketing and social media than firing people to replace with AI.
Yeah, and I'm fine with using it to have consistency and to, maybe get some better verbiage than what, you can think of, whatever. Like, that's fine. For what I've played around with in like ChatGPT, stuff like that, it's not just feeding you life's answers. Like, you have to work to give it enough information and enough stuff for it to give you back what you're like, okay, cool, I can use this. It's not just say, give me 5, beer Facebook posts about Oktoberfest beers. Yes, it'll probably give you exactly what you asked for, but it's also giving you exactly what you asked for. You didn't, dial it down. You didn't, it's... Yeah, I have an issue when they try to replace a person. They try to get rid of someone's job, thinking that with AI, someone else can carve a little bit of time out of their already full day, because AI will just make this for us. It's going to be easier.
The other thing in my thought process, if what you're posting is trying to create an emotional connection, why are you asking something that has no emotion?
100%, yeah.
And I don't think there's any way for those bridges to connect. Now, there's a lot of people, a lot of very smart people that are trying to make those bridges connect. Yeah. But
and sometimes you can get close. They're like, AI has come a long way, but you are 100% right. Without, and kind of like what I said a little earlier, without having that actual human touch, that looking at it through a human's eyes and saying, how would I react to that? AI's not reactive. It doesn't have, like you said, there's no emotional involvement in it, so it's not going to, it can't generate the feeling that you want it to do, depending on what. I've
heard a few Chat GPT, let's just call it responses or vomits to some of the asked for inquiries, and they're long, they're in depth, they are
they're dry.
There's something, but the thing is, to the person that's reading them, as soon as they get into them, you're like, wait a minute, there's something not right here. Even though things are trying to connect back and all these things, it's like, this isn't actually, like, this is artificial.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and that's just what it is, artificial.
Yeah. Quite literally.
Yeah.
They had a very big discussion about Costco and the cost of their store brand hot dogs.
Those hot dogs are delicious.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
Do you have a list of hot dogs better than Costco?
No.
Okay. We'll move on.
Yeah.
If you did, I was like, top 5.
Yeah,
Julia's hot dog list.
Absolutely do not have one of those. This was something that they were getting pretty passionate about, this next little...
I don't know how many are better than those.
I don't either.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's go.
Brewers finding way around distributors by opening, air quotes, bars instead of opening what could legitimately be considered a second tap room. And I had to listen to this part of the conversation twice, and I'm still not sure I really understood all the ins and outs of what they were talking about, but they were pretty upset about if breweries are trying to get around certain laws, looking for loopholes. All that's going to do is 5-10 years down the road, when kind of the legalities and everything catches up, it's just going to cause a shit show for everyone. It's going to cause more problems for the industry in general. And again, it was much more technical and in depth on the brewing industry than what I have no idea how to speak to it.
I think what they're saying is that the bars and restaurants are going to get louder and more vocal about pointing fingers at places, meaning breweries, that may be operating at the minimum of state and federal government expectations.
Okay.
And it's one of those weird things where, I get where a bar or a restaurant doesn't want to carry a product from somebody who they deem as a direct competitor. But you're also a direct competitor from any bar that's around you as well.
Right.
And what they're saying is no, but we're kindred spirits because we're selling at the same profit margins. And what Brett specifically is saying is that, well, you're not kindred spirit to the brewery down the street who's able to sell their beer at better margins because they're not going through a distributor to get the beer. And that's true, but that's part of being a brewery.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to dig too far into it. I just really don't. But they do touch on that, and what they're saying is, look, I mean, maybe at some point down the road, these bars and restaurants are not going to like that places like, Brewdog or some of these other places are coming in here and, doing their thing.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
Okay. There were a lot of top of lists in this episode.
Yes.
Not going to go over all of them. There weren't a lot of qualifiers to those lists.
No,
it was
not
just
many.
Black and white.
Not really OLIs either.
No, definitely not. So it was basically a, hey, can you guess what some of these might be? And then, yeah, you're right. No, you're not right. You can get your French wine update of the week in this episode. So if you have been, week. What?
Isn't we yes? In French?
I thought you said week.
Didn't you take French? Aren't you French?
No.
Don't you talk French?
No.
So you do.
Je ne suis no anglais. Wait, shit, I did it again. No, not enough. I thought you said week, W-E-A-K, and I got very confused. So I apologize. I misheard you with the din of the.
No,
the
it's W-E-E, like a tiny penis.
Not like O-U-I, like the French word for yes?
Oh, that's what I meant.
Oh, man.
I didn't take French, Julia. I didn't know how to spell
fine.
it.
That's fine. What did we learn? And we as in the United States, from Canada.
O-U-I?
Sure. They speak that up in Quebecistan. What did we learn from Canada this week? Something that I don't know if it's going to go over very well if, the government... they're not like trying to regulate anything. They're just trying to say, our recommendations for, which...
Oh, I don't love this.
No, I don't either. I mean, I don't care what their recommendations
Well,
are.
Okay.
Here we go.
How can I talk about it without talking about it? It's actually tough to talk about it without talking about it.
I have faith in you.
Something that all of us imbibe in. Everything is the state level, federal, across the globe, legal. Different ages, the legality depends on the country when it's illegal to
Sure.
imbibe
Sure.
or participate in. But essentially, what's happening is these quote unquote, researchers or scientists in Canada are releasing studies, which, by the way, are too small to actually
Have any accurate
basis
results? Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
which is also outlandish in itself. Like, you have the people, you have the time, you have the years. If you really wanted to vet this out, you could have vetted it out. But recommendations for how much you imbibe over a course of a week could be shrunk to say that almost zero levels of enjoyment
Right.
is even healthy at any standard. I just want to say that this is a don't sound the sirens before you're ready to publish your final findings from real and fully vetted and credible research. The other thing that I would say is we don't care.
Yep, 100%.
So
But if it happens, blame Canada.
I will.
The non-alcoholic story of the week: mug shots.
Ah, yeah.
Mug
Brett and Mike
shots.
taking taking headshots with their mugs.
Exactly. I mean, they both were drinking out of them today,
Yeah.
so there you go. And then the question of the week: how do you feel about frosted glasses?
Okay.
Here we go. I knew this was.
So I love this question. And I love their answer, by the way.
Yeah, I did too.
I love their answer.
Yeah.
I am hesitant to don't love frosted mugs, mainly because I don't want frosted sanitizer chips floating in my beer. I just
Sure.
don't.
Yeah.
Now, what I know is they're food safe.
Yeah. So it's okay, but
It's
right.
okay.
It's,
I
yeah.
mean, the stickers on an apple, the scannable sticker on an apple is edible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to eat it.
No.
I don't want to eat it.
but just
but-
in case, it's.
But so are
Fine
these.
for it to be
So are these sanitizer ice chips. I don't love it. I get the point where if there were liter frozen Steins, and by the time you got to the last 25%, it was still
it's still cold. Yeah, exactly.
You still had a change in the beer. This is basically what Brett and Mike are saying, is that I don't.
There's a place for it.
There
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
There is a place for it. I don't love it. I really don't. But look, if I owned a place, if I managed a place, if only I managed a place,
If only you had an inn.
I
an
would not
establishment
do
like this.
frosted mugs.
Okay.
However, I don't love it, and if you do it, you do it. You own it.
Sure.
Embrace it. Lean into it. Advertise that you do it. Put that the beer is cold on the outside of the building, if you want.
Now,
Freezing cold on the outside of the building.
32-degree beer at your fingertips. Who would do such a thing?
Who would do such a thing?
Oh,
And have
that's-
frosted mugs with floating sanitizer chips in it.
It's just ice cubes. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. Honestly, I don't love it. And for some of the places that I've gone to that serve me a pint in a frosted mug, I've asked for, can I just get a room temperature glass,
Regular
please?
glass. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
and if it's the only way I can get one, fine. I've been other places where somebody has said, "Oh, no.
I need a
I
frosted
need a
glass.
frosted. Can you put a glass in the freezer for me?" And I was like, "Really? Oh yes, frosted glass. Frosted glass.
Like, all right.
You get your Belgian wit with an orange, and it's like the best tasting beer. It's like, you know how you can taste that beer better? Put it in a room temperature glass.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But anyway. Yeah, it's fine.
There's a time and a place for them. I agree with that.
Yeah, and also I would agree. I mean, that time and place, I mean, it could change. I mean, we're here, air conditioned. It's lovely.
Yeah.
If we happen to be in, someplace in remote Mexico and they
Or
had
even parts
freezers,
of Texas or Arizona.
I don't know how they had freezers, but if they have freezers for frosted mugs and they're serving beer, and I was like, you know what? It's fucking 108 degrees out here. This frosted mug and this, fucking Modelo,
Could be best ever. Yeah.
could be the
Yeah.
best ever.
Yeah. I mean, those temperatures, it's not staying frosted and cold for long no matter what you're doing.
No. And the tarantulas are going to come out,
Yep.
not long before dusk. So,
This is true. Another thing to be cautious
have you
about.
been in Mexico with tarantulas all around you, Julia?
No, I have not.
I have.
No. But I've had, as we discussed earlier, pet tarantulas, so I've had those.
Been to Mexico
crawling
with
on me.
tarantulas all around me. Yep.
Yeah, that lack of control about the tarantula situation, not into it.
Just gotta gotta go.
embrace 'em, no?
Just gotta step.
That's true.
Let's go.
Well, speaking of let's go, do you have any other notes on this episode of Brew Skies Booze News?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And it is that there's a basically 2 minute and 10 minute
Yes.
2 minute 10-second episode where Brett and Mike decide that they are going to
Take matters into their own hands.
take matters in their own hands. They're going to express themselves.
Yes.
And
They do so very elegantly
I think they
and loudly all at the same time.
even though there's profanity, even though there is some hardware involved, there is craft beer accuracy
Absolutely.
and their clear opinion about the way that some big corporations handled some legacy brands.
Agreed. Yep.
And you know what? I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good with it.
I commented on the video and I said from like the cards at the end with just words, I said, we need t-shirts. And they said, we'll look into it.
Let's go. Let's go. But that's all I got,
It's awesome.
Julia.
Absolutely. Everyone should watch that. If you're watching Brew Skies anyway, if you're listening to any of the podcasts that we talk about, you probably have similar opinions. You might care more or less depending on some of it, but I think that you would agree that the 2 minute episode of Brew Skies Booze News is very well done, very well placed, and yeah, I agree with them.
There's a lot going on there. And I just want to say that not only are they within their right, but they take it to a place where, I mean, even us in our most passionate, beliefs, I don't think we'd have done that.
No.
Even as a trick or a stunt. But, them, I believe it. It's good.
So, speaking of believing it, I will end with this one question that I don't expect you to answer. Do you think it was actually Mike?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Just putting that little teaser out there.
All right.
Watch all their videos, listen to all their podcasts. Fantastic stuff. I think that's all that we have for this episode of Truth Beer Pod.
Awesome.
All right. If you like what we did tonight, let us. Well, no. You know what? Don't let us know. Let the rest of the world know. That's one of the most important things is sharing what we do with friends, family, coworkers, anyone that might be interested in listening to two people talk about the Cincinnati craft beer podcast scene. You can let us know anything you want to let us know about on Truth Beer Pod. We are at Truth Beer Pod. I don't know the words anymore. It's just, it's been one of those days. I blame the Reaper. Truth Beer Pod, all the social media platforms. That's where you can find us. If you want to send us an email, truthbeerpod@gmail.com. If you want links to everything that we do, including our podcast, our Patreon, if you want some extra content, other ways to donate, all of our shows, all of our social media, go to truthbeerpod.com. And with that being said, Marco,
Julia,
what are you going to be doing next Tuesday?
this here with you next Tuesday.
Sounds
Cheers.
great. Cheers. I will see you there.